be different, and that is true, but so far this does look like pretty much every other monitor I've ever opened. And yes, that includes the wires going everywhere and the tape holding things down. Yeah, it's pretty much how a lot of them are. Now we want to get to the electronics under this cage, and for the most part it's held on with simple screws, but some of this tape will also have to go. The tape was very stuck on, so much so that I had no concentration left to check the camera angle. So just pretend that you can see me unrouting the wires out of it. Some of the wires themselves were even really stuck in. Even with pliers I had to exert a ridiculous amount of force to get them out. Eventually I got enough wires unplugged so I could flip it over and look at the boards themselves. Specifically, we want to look at the power board, and checking the ports, it's pretty easy to see which board is which. We want to look at the top side of the power board, which means we're going to have to get it out. But that too turned out to be more complex than I expected. The boards are screwed into the cage, that's fine, but they're also attached to each other with these pin headers. I guess that was cheaper than a cable or something, but it looks like getting one out will necessitate getting both of them out. These nuts on the VGA and DVI ports also serve as screws fastening the video board in. Then somehow the video board came out on its own, but the power board was still stuck in with something I still don't really know. It's like the board was clicked into the cage somehow, but I never really figured out how. Anyways, yeah, for such a seemingly simple task, there was a surprising amount of confusion involved. Now we can finally get a good look, and look at that. Those capacitors are fucked. Okay, to be fair, they're not the worst I've ever seen, but damn, it's not hard to see why this thing isn't working properly. Let's go ahead and replace them. To do that, I'll need to write down all the values of each capacitor and go to the store to get ones that are the same or close enough. Generally, you can get away with capacitors that are higher voltages. You don't really want to go lower voltages or go for different capacitances unless you really know what you're doing. Since these are pretty standard values, most of the capacitors I got were the same. Some of them are higher voltages, but like I said, that shouldn't be a problem. As for desoldering approach, it is very lo-fi. Just heat one leg, lift it up, heat the other leg, lift it up. This sounds a lot dirtier than I meant it to. Really, it's just desoldering. After that, just use some soldering braid to open up the holes and stick it in. Oh god, this just got dirtier, didn't it? As he sensually inserted his hard capacitor legs into the hot, wet solder joint. Well, I'm going to pretend that didn't happen, and look at that! The capacitors have all been replaced. You can also see in this clip I recorded earlier that the new capacitors are considerably smaller than the old ones. This is actually pretty common when you're replacing capacitors from older electronics. Just as technology's advanced, capacitors have gotten smaller. Now all that's left to do is test it. This of course meant putting a lot of it back together, and much like taking it apart, this was easier said than done. But finally, it was all reconnected and we could test it. Luckily, I can keep the front bezel off because that part was the f***ing worst. Alright, plugging it in, and... Hey, there we go! This monitor is officially back from the dead. So hey, we're kind of done here. But before I button it up, I'm gonna give the plastics a good clean. You know how it is, when something goes unused for a long period of time, it tends to get a little dusty. Usually my go-to with plastics is just to run them under the tap, but this back piece has speakers that appear to be glued in, so I think I'll have to go with the old-fashioned wipe down here. Alright, there we go! The repair really was that easy. In fact, if you're looking for an easy beginner soldering project and have a dead monitor lying around like this, I'd really recommend doing it. Now I can send this back to my friend and hope he gets some use out of it again. Or at the very least that it's a working monitor lying around rather than a dead one. Which is, you know, better, I'm sure. The PS3 was famously more expensive than the Xbox 360, and somehow, even more than 15 years later, that's still the case. You often find 360s selling for about $40 to $50, but for PS3s you're looking at twice that, 80 to 100 at least. So when someone nearby was selling 3 PS3s for $50, how could I resist? Especially when they were all original design PS3s, which meant a non-zero chance that at least one of them could be a coveted backwards compatible model. Picking them up was interesting. I went to what I now understand is a dodgy neighborhood, and it was like movie levels of dodgy, like people screaming in the background, sirens, and I was just awkwardly standing there like, I am gonna get shot. They lured me here with cheap games just to kill me, I swear to God. But no, a man did come down with 3 PS3s. He only spoke Spanish, so I don't really know what he said. He could have been like, your videos suck, Matt, for all I know. But long story short, now I have these, and for the most part, they're in pretty decent condition. They're a little dusty, and the glossy surfaces are a little scratched. This one, ironically, was the least scratched because it used to be covered with a bunch of stickers. I've only left one because this was really hard to get off. You know, the PS3 CPU was famously, or I guess I could say infamously, designed more like a supercomputer CPU than like a desktop computer CPU. That made the architecture challenging to write games for, but theoretically pretty powerful if you knew how to use it. The US Air Force clustered together nearly 2,000 of them to analyze satellite imagery, and the University of Massachusetts in Dartmouth built their own cluster to perform astrophysical simulations of black holes. What I'm saying is, these babies can mine so much crypto. I'm kidding, obviously this hardware is obsolete and inefficient by today's standards, but I do kind of wonder what kinds of things people would be doing with them if Sony hadn't pulled the plug on running other OSs. But that's not important here. What is whether these even work. 50 divided by 3 is just under $17, so let's see what $17 can buy. Okay, first up, let's try Sticker Boy. Seems good. Hey, here we go. Yeah, not bad, not bad. Oh, I'll have to get a controller. Hang on. Fun fact, if you plug a PS4 controller into a PS3, it will work. It just can't be wireless, won't have vibration, and the PS button doesn't work. But other than that... Oh, nice. This is looking pretty good. Of course, what else did I expect? But so far, seems to be fully working. Alright, we gotta try a disc. I might prefer modding and playing games off hard drives, but it is something we need to know. Well, look at that. It may say eat more acid on it, but this seems to be perfectly fine. Anyway, I call that $17 well spent. Alright, next up. I don't know how to differentiate these, so I'm gonna call this one Billy. What do you got, Billy? Oh dear. I don't know if you saw that on the camera, but it spat out a bunch of dirt and dust. Gross. It's, oh no! Fuck. I just realized what that is. Well, what's come out the back of this PS3, there's no other way of saying it, is bug remains. Oh, and the light on the front is flashing. Red light of death indicates some sort of fairly fatal issue. Maybe if we go in and clean this out thoroughly, it could be all good. We'll see about this one. Ew, what is all this shit? Oh, don't tell me that's like bug feces. Jesus fucking Christ. Alright, so that felt a little more like what I would expect out of a $17 PS3. How about lucky number 3? If there's anything that Schoolhouse Rock taught me, it's that 3 is a magic number. Let's turn it on. Yes, there we go. Apparently this used to belong to a WoW, sir. WoW indeed. What did you used to play, WoW, sir? Oh, nothing, apparently. What? This seems to be pretty good. Another $17 well spent. Let's try a disc. Well, that's not a good sign. But you know what? That is okay. Like I said, I'm the kind of person who likes modding and running games off hard drives anyway, so lack of disk functionality, not such a big deal for me. So honestly, I can't really complain. 2 of these seem to work fine, minus the 1 disk drive, and I'm definitely going to try fixing the 3rd one and see if we can get 3 working systems, but even if I can't, $17 for a parts machine is still a pretty good deal. Sadly, if you were wondering, none of them have PS2 compatibility. It was a long shot anyway, there were very few models that ever had that, so it's not exactly surprising. Okay, so all of these need a good clean, that's a given, but what is inside this one, the one that didn't work? I have to know why bugs were spitting out the back And I have to know if it is actually fixable, because the only thing better than 2 PS3s is 3 PS3s. So I went ahead disassembling. As disgusting as I felt doing it, I knew that every single bit of this needed cleaning, and the only way to do that would be to take all of it apart. What do you think you're doing there, little man? Plus, I was somewhat morbidly curious just how bad it would get. Oh, fucking hell. This is getting to me. I'm like... As you can see, there's some pretty severe corrosion in a lot of places. If that managed to eat through a component or trace on the board, that could very well be our culprit. If it's a corrosion issue, it's probably fixable. The bad news is, it's gonna take a lot of willpower to get there. Okay, let's get to work. I feel like Gordon Ramsay in Kitchen Nightmares right now. It just keeps getting worse. I've eaten here. Here's how the bug legs got spat out when we were trying earlier. Some of them just happened to fall into the fan. Before diving into the cleaning, I found a theory online that a red flashing light could be caused by a power supply fault. I thought I'd better open it up and see if the cockroaches got in there too. There were some bodies that had worked their way in, but actually, for the most part, it was just dusty, not infested. So these plastic bits... fuck me, I just touched this furry shit in the back. It's just dust, but... God damn, I hated doing that. While looking at it didn't tell me much, I realized there was another way to confirm if there was something wrong with the power supply. I mean, I just happen to have 2 other PS3s with known working power supplies that I can swap in and see what happens. Or so I thought. So apparently this plug in the front is different between the 2 power supplies. That's cool. So assuming the power supply was an unlikely culprit anyway, I decided to just leave it and move on. I also figured I should check inside the Blu-ray drive too. Once again, I don't consider the drive super important, but it would still be good to know. And from a glance, it also seems pretty much fine inside, though obviously we won't know for sure until I can actually turn it on for more than 2 seconds. There's also a disc in it. NCAA Basketball. Another game for the collection, I guess. With that, it was time to look at the board itself. But first, this thing really needs a clean. Like, desperately. Okay, so everything has been cleaned. Most of the bug carcasses are gone, but there's still areas that need a lot more care and attention. So I cleaned these areas off with a lot of alcohol, as well as some isopropyl alcohol for the board, and then went ahead reflowing any joints I could see that looked corroded. I also figured while I was here, I may as well replace the thermal paste too. Honestly, I was very much stabbing in the dark, just hoping something here was the problem and would be fixed by the reflowing. Unfortunately, after doing this for hours, pretty much all over the board, nothing had made any difference. After a while, I was starting to feel a little lost and unsure of what to do next. I thought, if only the PS3 had some way of reporting error codes. Hey, wait a minute. The PS3 is a very complex device, so there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Thankfully, it's also a very intelligent device, and it constantly monitors its state for errors, especially during startup. The PS3 system controller, or syscon, logs these errors, and this log can be accessed externally with a simple serial connection. If we hook into that, maybe we can figure out exactly what's going on. Now there are some complexities to this. Each board revision puts these points in different places and also reports the error codes in slightly different ways, but eventually I figured out where the points were and started getting error codes. If you look at the output here, the left column are the actual error codes, while the right column is the time that the error occurred at. The time is all Fs here because I removed the clock battery. As far as the error codes go, there's a lot of info about these on PSDev Wiki. For our purposes, we can ignore the A and 0 at the start. The next 2 digits represent the startup step that the error occurred on, ranging from 0 to hex 80. Since these all say 80, that means the PS3 actually passed its power on self-test and started booting before the error occurred. The next 4 digits are the actual error, and we seem to be alternating semi-randomly between 1002 and 2124. 1002 represents a power failure in the PS3's GPU, also known as the RSX. Specifically, it indicates noisy voltage on the RSX's power line caused by bad filtering. That's definitely useful information. 2124 is less well understood, but appears to be a general error in the console's AV or HDMI encoder chip. So what does that tell us? They both seem to be graphics related, but what does that actually mean? To be honest, I was a little worried about the HDMI encoder error because it's a surface mount chip with a lot of tiny, delicate pins. If it had to be replaced like PS Dev Wiki suggests, I honestly didn't even know if I'd be able to do that with the equipment and expertise I had available. However, I also realized that the much clearer Error 1002 did have a much more obvious culprit. There are a set of high-performance capacitors that are a big part of the power filtering and supply for the CPU and GPU. They've become known as the NEC tokens for obvious reasons, and they've become kind of the Xbox clock capacitor of the PS3. Not in the sense that they start leaking and corroding the board, thank God, but that they're starting to fail en masse, becoming one of the most common issues with PS3s today. PS Dev Wiki even says that while many components are involved in filtering and could cause 1002, that it very much points to the NEC tokens. I had a sneaking suspicion that the HDMI encoder error was actually a red herring, or at least a symptom rather than a cause of some kind of greater power issue. With this, and knowing it's a common fault anyway, I decided to dive straight into replacing the NEC tokens. While you can't buy exactly these things as a replacement, you can buy a number of surface mount tantalum capacitors that achieve the same result. And so finally, I have some replacements. It's like a rainmaker. Now, this is not cheap. Each capacitor costs between $1 to $2, and you need 4 of them to replace each NEC token. That means to replace all 8 NEC tokens on the board, you need to buy 32 of them. So all in all, that ends up being about 50 bucks. And as we all know, you could buy 3 PS3s with that. I come from the school of older electronics where if you're replacing capacitors, you may as well replace them all, but it's actually recommended to keep at least some of the originals in place for reasons that'll become clear later on. But not knowing that yet, I carried on removing them all, which in and of itself is a bit of a challenge. They're soldered on the bottom, which means the usual tricks like solder braid or desoldering guns won't work here. At first, I tried a heat gun to try getting the solder hot enough that it would just come off smoothly, but I'm still not super experienced with stuff like this, and I couldn't really seem to get anywhere. The PS3 board is very thick and infamous for being able to quickly dissipate heat. Eventually, the capacitor started coming apart, so I just picked away at it, which is actually one of the recommended ways of removing these things. Yeah, as we learned from the Wii's capacitors, often the easiest ways to remove surface mount components is by destroying them, paradoxically causing less harm to the pads as well. In this vein, I later took another recommendation of using a razor to slice them off. While I was initially skeptical, this actually did end up being the cleanest and most effective way to remove these, at least for me. What we're left with is 4 pads per capacitor. The 2 on the outside are positive and the 2 on the inside are ground. As I said earlier, we'll be placing 4 new tantalum capacitors on each one, but there's a slight complication. The new caps are actually too long to fit snugly between these strips, which means you either need to scrape away at the board to expose more of the pads so you can mount them vertically, or just mount them diagonally, which is what I opted to do. It took a bit, but all capacitors have now been replaced. I think I did everything correctly. Pushing the power button. So it's a little bit less functional. Not only had this not fixed the PS3, it was actually shutting off much sooner than it was before, indicating an even more severe fault. I redid them all, hoping I'd just made a mistake somewhere in the soldering, but it didn't make a difference. As it turns out, I had made a mistake, but actually not in the soldering. This is the first reason why you may want to keep at least some of the original NEC tokens. Turns out they contain an internal bridge between the 2 outer positive strips connecting them in parallel, and this is necessary for proper functionality. So if you keep some of them on the board, that bridge remains intact, but if you replace them all, as I have here, you need to replicate that bridge yourself with some wire. It's staying on! Oh, hell yeah. So we officially have confirmation that despite all the cockroach bodies and feces packed into this thing, the only actual issue affecting functionality was a very common fault with the NEC token capacitors. Except another issue started to rear its ugly head. Uh-oh. Hang on. I turned it off. Since it had never been on for that long before, I'd gotten into the habit of not bothering to install the heatsink clamps, meaning after about a minute on, the CPU was starting to overheat. So I'll just reinstall the heatsink clamps, right? Well, here's reason number 2 why you might want to keep at least some of the original NEC tokens. These tantalum caps aren't just long, they're also significantly thicker than the original caps. Specifically, the CPU caps. The GPU caps actually do fit fine because the GPU doesn't require quite as much capacitance. That means this top shield no longer sits flush on the board because the new caps are trying to poke through it. No matter, I'll just cut some holes into the top case. Now we can install the clamps and we're all good, right? Well, no. Naturally, this isn't just an issue with the top shell, it's also an issue for the bottom shell, where the board actually makes contact with the heatsinks. You can even see from how the new heatsink grease was spread, or more specifically how it wasn't, that the CPU definitely isn't making good contact with the heatsink. This was unfortunate because the bottom shell is a lot thicker. Regardless, I went ahead cutting more holes to make more space for the new capacitors, only to find that even that didn't really help. Turns out the CPU heatsink actually overlaps a significant amount of the capacitors, and the new caps are so thick they're just slightly taller than the CPU itself, basically ensuring that the CPU doesn't make good contact. While I might have been able to cut holes into the shielding, the heatsink is another story entirely. I don't know if I could cut into this thick metal even if I wanted to, so I had to think of something else to do. I thought, well, if they're only slightly too high, maybe if I cleaned up my solder job and got them as flush to the board as possible, and as far away from the CPU as possible, maybe that would fix it? But sadly, it didn't. They were still tall enough to interfere with the cooling. I was stuck here for a while. It seemed like there was just no good way to solve this problem. At this point, I really was wishing that I had kept the original CPU caps on the bottom, especially since the CPU didn't seem to even be the problem. All the errors were GPU related. And it's not like I could restore the old caps because obviously they were destroyed by the removal process. I kept thinking about it and really I just needed the caps to be somewhere else, preferably as far away from the heatsink and shielding as possible. And that's when I got an idea that was pretty radical. There was this kind of empty space to the top left of the caps, which was not only out of the heatsink's way, but also completely clear to the bottom shield. Could I somehow move the caps up there? With no other ideas I could think of, I decided it was worth a shot. I soldered the new caps in a row on some cut-up bits of paperclip, and then soldered the paperclips to the pads, almost like a railway track. I had no idea if this would work. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, right? Well, it did. The PS3 still booted and functioned properly, but with the added bonus of no longer overheating after like 1 or 2 minutes. After all that work and investigation, after cleaning hundreds of hollowed out bug carcasses out of this PS3, it finally seemed to be working properly. For the most part. While the thermals had obviously improved to the point it could now play games for long sessions at a time, it did still seem to run a little hotter than I'd expect. After only 10 minutes idling on the XMB, it seemed to reach as high as 69 degrees Celsius, and during gameplay it was getting dangerously close to 80. This all felt a little too high to me, but I looked at some online statistics and while these are obviously completely anecdotal, it does seem to suggest that some board revisions do idle that hot. I don't think this is caused by my mod anymore, but I also didn't want to just leave it running that hot all the time. I thought I'd try one last trick to help get the temperatures down. No, not delidding, I don't think I have the courage for that just yet. This is called the Eraser mod. Essentially, you just stick some heat-resistant and non-electricity conducting substance, like a plastic eraser, under the CPU clamp and it adds just a little bit more pressure, increasing the CPU's contact with the heatsink just that little bit more. And don't worry, it's not going to be as thick as it looks. The clamps will squish it down so that it provides even coverage. There are concerns that adding more pressure to the board could be bad for it, but I feel like it should be pretty safe because it's only adding a fraction of a millimeter to a system already designed around clamps and pressure. Was that enough to make a substantial difference? Amazingly, yeah. My temperatures across the board dropped by about 10 degrees Celsius. And thanks to Webman's Auto 2 fan speed algorithm, the CPU temperature doesn't even exceed 65 degrees Celsius, even during gameplay, let alone idling. I think we can officially call this PS3 fixed. Pulled back from the brink of death, ready to put that supercomputer CPU to good use. Playing video games. Sadly, it looks like I won't even have the time in this video to clean up the other two PS3s, but since those were working and just needed a good dusting, I'm sure you guys already know what that would look like. So I really did get 3 PS3s for $50. Plus the exorbitant replacement caps, of course, but still, all things considered, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. It was definitely a tough project, but those are always the most rewarding. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye guys. So you may have seen on my channel recently I was fixing 3 PS3s that I got for $50. But there was kind of a side note to that none of those PS3s came with a controller. Now, that's okay if I just used them as backup machines, but if I wanted to give one to a friend or sell them, not being able to provide a controller is kind of a hard sell. Sadly, I don't just have 3 PS3 controllers sitting around, so I decided to buy exactly that. This is actually 8 controllers. 5 of them, I think, are genuine, and 3 of them are generic. Actually, it looks like 4 of them are genuine, and this one is the imposter, you sussy Barker. They might have written in the listing that it was 5 genuine, and not been able to tell that this was DualShock 3. DualShock, I mean, close enough. In the vein of good deals for low money, all 8 of these were $40, so that's $5 per controller. One of these working is like, what, at least $20 on eBay? So getting 8 controllers for the price of 2, I reckon that's pretty good. Now, they were sold to me as untested, which obviously means they don't work. To help me keep track of which ones are which, I'm going to label them A through H and write down any faults that I discover. Oh, wait. Oh, wow. There are 9 here? No, it says 8. There are actually 9. 5 of them are genuine, 1 is a sussy Sunday, and 3 are just generics. These are probably, and I'm not saying this to be rude, worth absolutely nothing. But hey, I'm always going to need a controller to give to a friend. No, they can't have any of these, only one of these. Alright, let's start with this. It has on it, does not turn on. I'll be the judge of that. Let her rip. I mean, you're seeing that, right? It literally says does not turn on. Bruh, what do you call that? Alright, as far as I can tell, all the buttons are working. There is something a little odd about the thumbsticks. It's like they're a little loose, or at least the left one is. The right one, actually, that might be fine. But you can even see on the left one, there's this like gap between the thumbstick and the casing. That should never be there. In fact, I'm just seeing now, look at that. There's this like imprint that the left thumbstick has made, which it never should be doing that. That's a weird one. But I mean, as far as does not turn on goes, I'm calling that a win. We'll make a little A from a piece of sticker paper. It even runs on battery. I could maybe believe this does not turn on message if maybe its battery was cooked or something, but no. Moving on, does not connect. Well, we'll plug it in. So the computer seems to have picked up on it, but it does indeed not seem to be connecting. What a funny issue. That seems like almost a firmware issue. I've never seen a firmware issue on a controller before. Then again, maybe it's just the PS button doesn't work and you need the PS button for it to select player 1. Does this work wirelessly? I'm gonna say that's inconclusive. It might just be low on battery, but so far it is not powering on from the button. Then again, if my armchair hypothesis that the PS button is simply broken, then it wouldn't turn on from doing that either. This is B. This is actually correct. Does not connect. This one is not labeled at all. Literally not at all. Not even the sticker on the back. I don't think that's a good sign. I'm gonna guess that it's not gonna turn on at all. Oh, okay. PS button, alright. Oh, interesting. All buttons and triggers seem to be good. Both thumbsticks are a bit wacky though. Even when extending them all the way, it's a little fidgety. Well, this gets C, 6-axis. What do we got? Ah, seems pretty dead. I thought this would happen eventually, though. Oh, never mind. I don't know what happened the first time. Maybe the plug just wasn't in all the way. Triggers are good, buttons are good, thumbsticks. They feel disgusting. You can practically see the sheen on this one. The right one seems to be working fine. The left one though, it's actually like kind of stuck up. Look at that. This might be the grossest one so far. It's just greasy and sticky all over. I'm gonna guess that's probably its issue as well. Someone poured some Sunny D into it or some shit. Okay, so this is Unit D. Second 6-axis. What do we got here? Oh, okay. Working. This left thumbstick, similar issue, but towards the bottom right. Again, this might be another situation of it's just dirty and sticky. It also wouldn't surprise me if both 6-axis controllers maybe came from the same household, and so they exhibited the same behavior, but seems otherwise pretty much functional. Unit E. Yeah, I'm really becoming Discount Markiplier now. Let's try the Sussy Barker.
I don't know, man.
Uh-huh. Well, that's interesting. I guess light number 3 is out. R1 seems to be stuck in a little bit. You see that? That's probably fixable. That's probably just a matter of opening this up and realigning it. Ooh, what the fuck? What the hell is going on here? This has got to be a mapping problem. Like, I'm pressing the triggers and the thumbsticks are going up and down? Up and down is mapped to the left trigger. Right up and down seems to be also mapped to left and right. Look, the DualShock 3 is full of surprises. Alright, well this, quite appropriately I'm gonna say, gets an F. Onto the generics. Oh god, the USB plug is upside down. Why would you do that? Okay, 2 of the lights are out, it would seem. Hold button to power on. Jesus Christ. Do they think that little of me? I have a diagram on this controller. Also, it does not actually appear to work. My note for this is, does not connect, really condescending. What do you got for us? KMD? Whoa, oh. Well, I think I found the problem. I was gonna say impressive that it runs off standard batteries apparently, and then I remembered what standard batteries are like. But yeah, let's get those out. Oh god. Ew. After that disaster, let's check out Nyko. Oh, this comes with the USB built in. I'm gonna guess that means that it's not wireless at all. So I plugged it in. Did you see the testing thing just went white? Hang on, unplug that. Plug it back in. Press a button. What? Am I to believe this thing is so shitty that it crashes the whole website? Oh no. These are fucked up. They're really creaky. Like, it's hard to actually push them the way you want to go because they kind of want to go different ways. It's like really ratchety, and listen to the noise it makes. And also, this thumbstick literally won't go in that direction. I don't know why, but like, it'll go in all this direction, and then as soon as you get to there, it stops. This is awful. It's just bad. But you know what? I don't think that's a bad haul. I think out of the 5 official controllers, I'd be betting that most, if not all of those, could make a full recovery. Some of the generics I think could, but whether it's going to be worth it, I don't know. But I'll see what I can do. Okay, so how did I do repairing 9 PS3 controllers? Well, as I mentioned earlier, I really only cared about the 5 genuine controllers. While that might seem a little discriminatory, I'm just trying to think practically. I mean, if I wanted generics, I could spend less than $9 each.
Yo, Moose, if you're still watching.
including shipping, on brand new ones from eBay. So if the time or money I have to spend to fix any one of those is worth more than that, I just don't consider it worth my time. I decided to start with controller C. This is the one with the jittery thumbsticks. For whatever reason, it felt like it was going to give me the least amount of trouble. Immediately, I discovered something I didn't notice before. The USB plug is actually slightly broken. You can see if I fiddle with this cable enough, eventually it loses connection. And if you actually look closely at the plug itself, you can see a tiny little chunk of plastic has cracked off. I don't know how that would have happened. I guess someone was just a little rough with it while it was plugged in. I don't actually think I'm going to take the time to fix it now, simply because this is predominantly a wireless controller, and it isn't really an issue if I leave it alone while charging. If it does become a problem later though, it should be pretty simple to replace the plug with a new one. That's the power of using standard plugs like this. Nintendo. Anyways, I took it apart, removed the old gross thumbsticks, and had a good look to see if anything was wrong. From the outside it seemed fine, which is probably to be expected. I plugged the controller in again to get a better look at the problem, only to find that it fixed itself. Yeah, no more jittering. The movement was now totally fluid. Weird, I mean, I didn't even do anything yet. My guess is the jittering was caused by just a tiny bit of dirt lodged in here, and that jostling everything around while opening managed to dislodge it. So I decided to give everything a real nice clean, including inside the joystick with some alcohol. And as far as I can tell, that's all it took. I tested the controller for a few hours and there was no sign of any joystick problem at all. You know, this is always the best kind of repair, when it turns out all you needed to do was just open it up and clean it. Since so many of these had gross, sticky thumbsticks, I bought a pack of replacements. They came in a pack of 10, which is coincidentally exactly how many I needed to replace the thumbsticks on all 5 controllers. Now these feel much better. Along with the cleaning I did, they basically feel like new. I think I'll call this one done. 1 down, 8 more to go. Next I took a look at controller B. This is the one that would power on, but not actually start playing. And this one too I thought was likely to be easy because I suspected it was just a broken PS button. Unfortunately, while opening it up, I accidentally broke part of the
Hello?
How are you doing?
Doing well. I've been probably on like hour 9 of trying mapping. It's very
Oh, you're still on that.
yeah. Still working on it. Do you have any tips?
What are you doing right now? Here, let me pull up your stream.
Oh, let me screen share. Look at these bozos joining in without an invitation. That's crazy.
So true.
You're in public, bozo. Maybe you should join
That's
the leader.
crazy, bro. That's crazy.
I just came in to annoy you guys for a split second. I gotta go to work. Bye.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Good riddance.
I know, right?
Damn.
Believe it.
Let's see how it is.
Hey, any tips and tricks that you have? I'm very new to everything.
If I see something, I'll bring it up.
Cool. I guess my biggest question is I'm trying to make it Portal-esque. How would I get the textures from Portal so that I can use them?
Well, you would open up the Portal 2 game in your local files. You would open up the VPKs or GCS, whatever they used for that release. You would take the textures you need, take out the VTFs and VMTs, and move them into CS:GO. You might need to do some porting, but I believe the format should be compatible between the 2 games.
I think they are.
Yeah, CS:GO is pretty much entirely based on Portal, so they should be compatible.
Yeah.
I did that. I have this, and then do I just
They
copy
use-
materials and models?
No.
No?
Wait, are they packed? Open up the materials folder.
I unpacked them, I think, at least. I don't know.
Okay.
I did the thing.
Then yeah, you just so dragging them into CS:GO is not good. It's the easiest way to do it,
Okay, how
but
would
it's
you do
not
it?
good. You have to set up. You basically have to set up a different game in your Hammer configuration, and then have it so that when you build the map, you pack those files from the separate game into your map. As I said, just dropping into CS:GO is just the easiest way to do it.
Am I able to pack it successfully doing it the easy way?
Yeah.
Like, what are
Yeah,
the
the easy
cons of
way-
doing it the hard?
The easy way is the easy way. The cons are just you complicate your local file tree and you make it kind of
Oh.
difficult to.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
you'd
care
be
about
Yeah.
that.
like,
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah, but you
Perfect.
eventually run into the 80 gigabyte CS:GO install. That doesn't have.
Nah, don't worry about that. Yeah,
My
I
CS:GO
already
is
have
80
one.
gigabytes.
Mine's like
My
90
CS:GO is 80
meg,
gigabytes,
multiple
and
maps.
like 70 of that is maps.
Yeah, exactly. So I just copy.
Okay, no, it's
Well, because
yeah,
I
copy
also
and paste.
I started running into an issue where like if you copy all of these, then you run into issues. So you're only supposed to copy some of them.
No, it's fine. Just copy all of them. No balls.
Okay, but fucking
0 balls. Do not copy CFG. Do not
Yeah,
copy
don't copy
CFG.
So just
Or
this
game
and
dev.
copy
Or
this.
scripts.
game-
Or scripts. Do
or
not
game
do not
dev.
copy
So
scripts.
don't copy this.
Just copy. Stop. Just copy models and materials. Please, for the love of God.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just copy it into here, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poggers.
I got the answer.
All right. 2 hours later.
So this is
MS,
what
have a
I have so
question.
far. That's a very yeah.
Okay. Portal.
You'd be
That is a portal.
surprised. It is CS:GO is not Portal. Shocker, I know. So not like the portals itself. That's like hard coded, because like you have camera stuff and teleportation.
You can do camera stuff.
Yeah, but it's
You can do some
really
pretty
hard
funky
to do.
camera stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question. How come you're doing this in CS2?
Because I want to learn this so that I know what it's like, and then maybe I'll transfer over to the other one. Oh, by the way, I'm using VScript for like most of my games.
Mouse Pouch 2.0. Look it over here.
Because this way I can have a single VScript, and both of these games work, right? But all that I have is I only need a single script with the game name, and then I have a brush with that game name underscore brush and a button. And there's no input output. The only output here is this, and then the script handles everything else. So like making a game like this or like this is super easy, but like it basically just makes this brush speed up, and that's essentially it. But in theory, other games I need to make another script for it, but having it generic would be nice.
Why would you replace existing files that can make it take longer? Oh wait, never mind.
I could say close it, reopen it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You don't need to close and reopen Hammer. It updates automatically.
Yeah.
Hammer plus plus. That is old Hammer. You might have to.
You should talk to fucking Covert. He's like, whenever I was working on AWS stuff, and he was trying to get the permissions set up for me. He was like, did you sign out of AWS and sign back in? Why does this corrupt every time? This is not every time. This is the first time, but it's weird that it does that.
It's weird that it happens every time when it isn't the first time.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna blame it on Hammer being Hammer. Okay.
I'm gonna blame it on you not saving before closing.
No, because it was already. It was this. I did this a long time ago. So, test. Let's do. What's a good way to test? Let's try.
Test what?
Like if it works or not.
You can file run map.
No, like test the imports.
Oh.
The portal, because like.
Search for portal.
Like these are here already. I did this. I tried it already, and I think I got some of it.
All right. Well, my food's here, so have fun. Bye.
Adios.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Man, I can't wait until I port this game to CS2. I mean, can't wait until I port this CS2 for you.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be awesome. Well, in theory, it should be a Python script, right?
I think so, if I remember right. I haven't looked at the script.
Sheesh. How many VPKs are there, bro?
Only have Portal 2 been a model, but CS2 is still stuck with CS 1.6 models.
Your mic is amazing, G's. You know that.
Fight me.
Crystal clear.
It's because I don't have auto sensitivity. There, now it should be better.
Yeah, you keep telling yourself that.
Cold.
Da, 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 da.
Oh yeah, by the way, in theory, you should be able to start being moving servers off Chicago, and I thought it was really
Soon enough, yeah. I need to, yeah, let me delete that one that Don said I could delete.
we got them up in dev, but so far they've been pretty good. This way, we ship the tests the rest of them.
Okay, there's that, and now we can go to results, root,
Yay!
tools, models, and that's it.
Yay!
And
Drag that one. Jesus, it's a lightning storm outside right now.
where, what state are you in?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Nice.
I'm right next to Canada.
Oh, you're okay. I don't know my geography, but cool.
Northern Minnesota.
Oh yeah, I see. I see. You ever go into Canada?
Mm-hmm.
I went to Canada and I saw Niagara Falls. That was cool.
I have a special card that lets me go into a fast zone, so I don't need customs when I go into Canada.
You have the you have the I'm white card.
Yeah.
For legal reasons, that was a joke.
Which I didn't know on the base. Do you have the CS2 workshop tools even downloaded?
Nope, I do not have it downloaded.
Just gonna wait until it's released.
Yeah, too lazy to hack anything.
Yeah. Understandable. A new file structure and it's so weird.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Oh, it's so different. We're gonna have to do a whole new document something for it.
Poggers.
Ain't gonna be nothing we're able to copy.
I don't know if it worked or not.
Are you trying to get the portal face?
Something, yeah, something that makes it not shit.
I think you have to relaunch your hammer for new models.
No way, because Moose said I didn't have to, so no way Moose would lie, right? Surely not.
Well, it always, in my experience, hammer always acts weird when you suddenly shove 300 different models into it.
Well, I
And
mean,
it's better to just relaunch it.
yeah, well, that's a hammer problem. So I did save, so let's see. Oh, I guess it's worked that time. Hey, Portal 2! So did work. Okay, cool. I just need to deal with it.
So
And find...
Bushwa, why?
So, yeah, it's crazy.
Jesus.
Fuck.
I feel like my house is about to get struck by lightning.
Uh-oh. Let me send you this. Oh no. Yeah, that's an uh-oh. Hey, gee, this is what just happened behind the curtains.
What?
That.
Uh,
I didn't touch databases, man. I'm just saying.
which database?
That's GTA.
Okay, that's not our battle.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, oh, whew, thank God. Wasn't
Ooh.
not
Ooh,
part of the
oh,
problem.
you had me shook there for a second. I almost thought it was something important. I'm like, JB game database.
Yeah. Well, no, I backed that shit up, man. Uh,
That shit's the Bible of the server.
I don't know how that would. Oh wait. Oh, shot.
Well, hopefully Don keeps good backups.
Yeah, surely we have backups on the system that we use. Yeah, surely, of course, yeah.
Too bad it's almost
We
like
wouldn't
it's
use
almost
a shit system that didn't have backups, obviously. I don't know.
just another product of our unification of technology infrastructure. So
Yeah, nah, man. The tech just isn't there to have backups. That's just you crazy talk, man. That's crazy talk.
our met our met files are more replicated than just the database.
It's time for me to go on LOA. It's like, oh well, my work is done. I'll see you guys in a month. So, yep.
Sorry to interrupt here. G, are the servers for TF2 passworded? The new ones?
They shouldn't be.
Okay.
Interesting.
Is
They
there a way we
they
can have it passworded, and I'll send you what it should be?
okay. I'll
Or-
have to make someone here give me access to it.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll have
Can
to
you
ask
also make
around.
them give us access to it?
One more time.
Can you also, while you're making them give you access, give them or have them give us access too?
Sounds good.
Yeah, if they need our information, we can provide that too. But just
I'll pay you.
okay. I got to go back to like my actual job, but I
Have
just
fun.
wanted to hop in real quick since I had
Yeah,
a quiet moment.
I'll get on it. Oh
Okay.
yeah, don't forget to send me the password too.
Well, I will go ahead and do that now. We have our ECs on the event server to go and test it right now, so that way we can let you know how things are going.
Sounds good.
All right, you guys have a good one.
See ya.
You too. Oh, I can't wait to get that moved off that foil.
No, what?
Can't wait to get those moved off.
Yeah, what? I want to have like a co-op climb. Like, because like Portal 2, right? Like half of the game is
Yeah.
you trying to kill your other teammate while you're supposed to be helping them.
Hmm.
Yeah, I want to have something like that. But like
I wish you could put the
thing.
I wish you could put the portal gel in here.
I tried having like gel here so that people could zoom off and like jump into here. But again, gel is a Portal 2 thing. It's not like a source thing. Like the best I could do is probably like try and recreate it, but I tried doing that and there's not like a texture for it or anything. I mean, I can try and make a texture, but I have never made a texture before. So
Alright. Let's see if Don gave me dead server access.
he's dealing with something right now, so no, probably not.
Oh yeah, the database.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I did ask, to be fair. I was like, "Hey, can I delete this?" And he was like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "All right, it's gone." And he's like, "Uh oh." So that's okay.
Hey, How about that dev server access?
Yeah,
so
hey
I can,
Don. Yeah, you want me to develop, right? Yes, yes. Right now, yes.
or you could set the server password for me.
Nah, I'm busy. Very busy right now. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's Pixel Online. Oh, W. This is a W moment.
Maybe covert. Covert.
On in here.
Oh, look at perfect timing. It's almost like you just heard me mention your name.
Yeah, I heard you.
That is crazy.
Good.
Yeah, you definitely didn't at him. Be like, hey, Pixel, hey, please, Pixel, please, please.
I was literally about to add him. I was typing in
Oh.
tech private.
I was just seeing what's happening.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to map make.
Can you set this as the password for the 4TS servers they're about to hop on and test? They have a testing event, I guess.
Why does he need a password?
I don't know.
I
They
mean, I
just
don't
need a
care. Sure.
password. And I'm just gonna give you 4 server tokens so we can get around
Oh,
that.
the last backup was 12 days ago. That is.
That's not. It could be worse. It could be worse. We could
That's
have no
unlucky,
backups.
the Pixel.
We could have no. Yeah, I know.
That
It's
is a long.
why was it linked to that anyways? I don't.
I don't know, bro. I didn't check because I was like, that'd be. I didn't even
That'd
think
be
about
stupid,
it.
right?
'Cause that'd be so
Yeah.
dumb. It's like surely
This would have.
when
This
we.
would.
It's like surely when we transferred off of Wisp, we didn't have.
Yeah, this would have
backups
happened
on Wisp,
anyways. Yeah,
right?
this would have happened anyways.
Jesus.
Oh,
Christ.
621. Okay, that's not as bad.
Yeah, that's less worse. Holy. Woo! Cause yeah, my blood was like, oh.
There you go, Pixel.
The 41's already 2-4, right? think.
No. Yeah, 41 BC's 2 for it.
Okay.
Let me just edit that in for you.
I guess. Yep.
And there should be.
I didn't think anybody linked databases in there. That's crazy.
Yeah, what the it's like taking like a backup through Wisp. What the fuck?
Wait, 12 days there hasn't been a backup for the GTA database?
No, it's only.
No, we found one from 3 days ago. But still, that's insane. We should ideally have daily backups. Cough, cough,
Oh yeah, 100%.
cough, cough. That's a big cough right there.
Yeah. Okay. Harvest.
Why is this a radius, bro?
What's the fuck? Okay.
Oh yeah, Pixel, you should have seen it. G was like, so I wonder if Don gave me dev access. I was like, yeah, no, he hasn't.
Definitely not.
Well, I can teach Pixel how to give me dev access.
I don't think I have
Yeah.
permissions. Like, I'm pretty sure I don't have perms to add users.
Oh yeah, you need to though.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have
Do not
sudo.
have sudo. Oh,
No,
that's
only
true.
MS has that or done.
Okay, okay. Send
or-
me the IP and the Republic token. G.
Oh, I did like 6 times.
And
Do it again if you really want it.
you should also send me. Oh wait, you already sent me your first name, right? No,
Well,
I need the letter of your first name and your last name.
why?
It's just a name.
That's just how we do usernames. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could also not. Hey man.
If you make someone up, I don't know.
Wait, so what do you need? My IP, my name, and my key?
I need the IP you need to log into for the server, and then the name, and then your public key.
What, you need the server IP? Can't you just know
Just-
that?
You want me to work harder, bro? That's crazy. You're the one asking. You're the one looking for access. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not very grateful enough here. Please forgive me,
Hey man,
Annette
yeah, you
Senpai.
better grovel.
Here, I'll even make sure the key's encased in a code block so you can easily copy it. Because you only deserve
Wow,
the
that's
best.
so nice of you, man. Holy cow. What box is that?
Dev.
Ego CS
Order.
Div.
Okay.
Yeah.
EGOD.
Man, Harvest doesn't even have command line arguments for passwords. Grin.
What? No way.
It's not Debian 12, so it has that going
You have
for it.
2 N's in your last name?
Yeah.
Okay, just double checking.
You're like the 300th person to ask that question, buddy.
It's an interesting way of spelling it.
In German, that means you were a family of stature.
Oh my,
If
this
you had
looks
two
so, holy cow, look at that. That's beautiful.
Password.
Like, look at that skybox.
Oh, wait, is that the password, G? Red versus blue?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
it's a flag. Okay, 1 sec.
It's a very secure password.
User mod. Is it user first and then group, or is it group first and then? Isn't it group first?
User mod AG.
Docker? And then user, or is it user and then Docker?
Yeah.
G?
What?
Yeah. Okay. It's
It's group first.
user mod AG Docker. Yeah.
And
So
then,
group
yeah.
first and then. Yeah. User.
Oh, for user group mod?
Yeah.
Just
User mod -AG.
Give him
group
wheel.
name, that username. And don't forget to give me sudo.
Oh yeah. Oh
Wheel.
yeah. Oh man, I forgot to do that. Oh no. Well. Oh well.
Oh no.
Oh, that shucks.
Okay. Oh, I didn't change harvest. Oops. Okay. Why did I get pinged?
Pro
Oh, clear IP.
to authorize keys. Okay, go and try now, G.
Okay.
Access denied.
Using the username that you gave.
Make
me.
sure you don't try and connect multiple times. You'll get fucking banned.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really strict. It's actually crazy.
I had to connect to the VPN the first time because it got banned.
What is my username?
First letter and then last name.
Are you sure you spelled my last name right?
Yeah, with 2 N's. Yeah, I spelled it incorrectly.
2 L's, 2 N's?
2 L's? The fuck?
Oh, you communist.
That's crazy. How can
This
you
is-
rename a user? I'm assuming you can, right?
Yes, you can, but now my home folder is gonna be screwed and gouged.
No,
Spell your name wrong.
It's-
Broca just copied the freaking username I said.
You know. Hey, copying and pasting is bad.
Clearly.
You could put some hidden command in there, you know?
Exactly, yeah. Take it. That's
Yeah,
how arbitrary code execution is.
Yeah, my dad named me after a SQL injection exploit, so
I mean, hey, it's kind of your fault for having 2 L's and 2 N's, you know?
yeah, I'm sorry that my family decided to choose that last name 500 years ago.
Okay,
You
try
should be sorry.
now. 2 L's and 2 N's.
There we go.
Very cool.
I mean, my mouse, fuck it. Game.
I'm just gonna run through real quick. We got whoever that guy is, whoever has that interesting last name. Oh wait, that's you, MS. Oh, you didn't hear me say that.
Yeah, yeah. We love doxing, yeah.
Yeah, ducks.
I didn't even. What do you mean? What is a weird last name? Everybody, like 50% of the world has a weird last
50%.
name.
Let's go, everyone.
Bro, look at me with the longest username in the server. This isn't easy being me.
Okay, if you say so. Man, this window looks good though.
I already ran Docker image for Pixel.
He immediately breaks down all of our
You
test
gotta-
servers.
Right? You gotta run Docker volume prune too, bro.
Don't need this,
It's
don't
like-
need this, don't need this.
Unnecessary
Oh, I
container.
Just downsizing. Oh, what's this?
Look at
Surf
that.
dev?
Now we
Don't
have
need
45% usage. Look at that. Crazy.
that. Wait, I wonder if I can do something big brained here.
What is
Shut
that?
down -R now.
Please don't.
Hmm.
So I gotta get like done to start the server again. So does event support passwords? Let's find out.
Support is an interesting choice of words there.
Well, is it in the Docker entry file? It is. So is it just? It's just Hightower or Harvest, whatever. Which one?
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey,
The fuck
mayors.
is that?
Hey
What's
How's
Don
John
just-
your-
guys, Don just corrupted the live DB for
Yeah,
GTA.
I mean, it was already
Yeah, but no.
broken, so at least we have one now.
What do you mean? What?
So we deleted the old version of GTA on Wisp, and apparently that version was the one that the database was on.
Wait, he actually broke the DB? I was lying.
No, he deleted it. Well, I deleted
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Wait,
MS
yeah,
deleted
I-
it.
wait, so did you just break
asked-
GTA?
Yeah, I asked Don. I was like, "Hey Don, we have the old version of GTA on Wisp. Can we delete it?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure. Go ahead."
This happened like 10 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Let's see.
we're just chilling here mapping. Have
Come
fun.
on, let's go
Wait, are you like dead ass right now? I can't tell.
No, yeah, we're,
Wait,
we're
what?
completely serious.
What
You know
are you talking
GTA
about,
just went
Myers?
down and they're hosting an emergency meeting, right?
Yeah, deadass.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
probably what it's about, Moose. Oh, sorry, Myers.
Moose.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go start telling people.
No, don't tell people.
Yeah, don't tell people.
Yeah,
Bro.
everyone, guess what?
Well, you just got snitched on.
Worst
imagine.
secretary ever.
Imagine. Like
Truly,
the company,
the
like the
secretary.
company's firewall goes down. The secretary posts on Twitter, "Hey guys."
Right?
I like how the subtitle of their city hall meeting "Something Happened."
City Hall. I mean, that might be a normal meeting, but
No, it isn't.
I
There's 68 in the
yeah,
audience.
blatant,
It's a
blatant
whole.
ignorance, you know.
There's 68 in the audience and 6 people talking. It's a whole webinar.
It's a webinar. All right, guys, thank you for joining my webinar today. We're going to be talking about cybersecurity and not deleting your prod database. Yep.
I want you to start linking that one video of the guy explaining how GitLab deleted their prod DB.
It's amazing how often. Well, no, okay, never mind. I was thinking of GitHub, but they didn't delete their database, right? It's like
What the hell is the
is there
item
something else
server?
that was done, right? Yeah.
What's the item server?
The who?
Pixel.
Probably the
Maybe.
server that hosts items. That would be my guess. Yes.
The dev harvest server isn't connecting to item server.
Oh,
I
that's
don't know what
a
the fuck item
Steam
server is.
thing. That's like a Steam thing. It's not ours. It's like a TF thing.
Well, it sounds like not our problem then.
It is kind of your problem though.
No,
I don't
it's
touch
G's
Well,
problem.
TF
He's the
servers.
TF2 guy.
Exactly.
let
It's your
me
problem
go
now.
just
You right.
Docker logs TF dash harvest dash dev.
Yes,
Let's see.
Yeah, I have no idea what
Okay.
you're talking about, so good luck.
Grep item. Well, this is useful.
What do you need an item server for?
I don't know.
Yeah, you tell him, man. You don't need your items. What? Back in my day, we didn't have items.
But they don't have custom items.
They do though.
What do they need a server for? Well, I guess they have like, do they? I don't know.
Yeah, they have custom items.
They don't need it. It's fine.
Those were the custom items were the ones that were causing the server to crash for a hot second.
Nice.
Yeah,
I don't see anything in the server console mentioning that.
it's a skill issue then.
Git push. Fix. G cleanup.
What is he talking about?
Okay, what is he on?
And why is he saying again like this has happened before?
It
probably
probably
is.
has. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, knowing GTA. Oh yeah, remember? Yeah, when they got hacked, it was on database thing, but
The new box broke the TF2 item server, so every time we move the item server,
man, you're
and it
blaming
looks
the
like you've
bots. That's a new low, man. That's
and it looks like MSWS was asked on July 9th, 2022 at 9:05 p.m. What is an item server?
I didn't ask that.
It clearly says this right here. This
Oh, my computer got hacked then.
Yeah. When you listen, give me the lesson in cybersecurity, buddy.
Right. Yeah, you tell him. You tell him.
Oh, I wonder if it,
It
uses
wasn't
a different
on
port.
Docker, Myers. I mean, back end it was on Docker, right? Everything is on Docker very back end, but
Mm.
it was through
I
Wisp.
wonder.
I didn't delete the
Does
volume. I just deleted the thing through Wisp. So
does
it's
TF2 item
probably
server use
recoverable through Wisp. Through Docker. But I don't know how to do that, and that would be probably honestly a covert thing. And I don't know if covert.
Ah, this fucking guy.
Did you see my DM? Okay, am I? Did you delete the volume when you deleted it, or is it dangling still? Like, can't you recover that?
It's probably I don't know. I don't know how Wisp handles it.
Well, it doesn't sound like they even tried to recover it. Like, dude, there's a meeting right now, and they have 75 people in there, and they're telling them that they lost 3 days of the database.
You want to chime in? You are part of Tech Myers. It's kind of your job. You know?
Bro, ain't nobody dude, they didn't tell. Dude, this literally happened, and the first reaction of them is they shut down the server and made an announcement. I don't have
Yeah,
Wisp
I guess
access. I don't have box access either to check.
Tell him, you fucker.
He's in the middle of a meeting. I can't tell him.
Just
Can't you look
DM
right now? Don't
DM
you have
Don
box
then.
access?
DM Don.
Don't you have doc? You're the one who deleted it. Hold on.
One second.
Can't you?
Okay, what's a command?
Yeah.
What command do you want to use?
Are you in? I sent you into the box first.
I am. Yeah, I am.
Okay, and then you should be able to like Docker volume ls and then look for dangling volumes, like the volumes that aren't connected to
We
anything.
have they all say local and they're all random digits.
Okay, they should. When did you delete it? There should be a Docker log of when the container was deleted, and then the hash should be attached to it. That should be the hash of the.
I didn't delete it through Docker. I deleted it through Wisp. So I.
Okay, Wisp recover
I mean, there's
lost data Docker.
like there's if you do -f dangling equals true in the Docker command, that shows you things that aren't connected to anything.
So Docker
this guy,
volume
he's-
ls-f dangling equals true.
Yeah. Still not very useful because it's just random fucking but
Yeah,
you can inspect it, I
it
guess. But
narrows it down slightly, but there's
Yeah.
still like 2 dozen.
Are there a lot? Okay, Docker view logs of suddenly deleted containers. Docker history.
What is that? I never used
Is it
that
a
one. Let's use that
command?
one.
Docker
It is,
history?
but I need a usage for it.
Shows the history of an image.
Which
I don't
do you
think
have
that's
the
useful.
image? Is there not just a broad
There was on Wisp, but I don't know what the hash is.
Docker run -- log - driver equals journal D?
Copy and paste it to me.
Bro, I don't know if this is gonna work. I think this requires you to have a container that's logging.
Oh, probably not then. That's a interesting command.
Yeah, I don't know. Hold on. I think that's how you run a container with attached
Yeah,
no
with
logs. Don't
it,
run
yeah,
that.
Yeah, it doesn't work, but yeah, it's not retroactive.
I don't think there's much you can do unless you just like
If you run Docker
Mount-
PSA, does it show it as being stopped?
No, it's
Or is it
well,
like
I mean,
fully
okay.
deleted?
So we transferred it from Wisp over to Docker, right? So we have a version running right now. So I need to find the old one then, in theory.
But I mean, the
So-
database wasn't connected to like it's not in the
Can you-
volume.
Can you mount all those volumes and check the data in them? Because it should be obvious if it is the database volume.
Like,
Big-
isn't the
big
database just
words,
their
Marcus,
database is remote
big
though, isn't it?
words.
Like it's not hosted on the server.
No, it is hosted on the server.
Well, it got deleted somehow, so I'm assuming Wisp.
It was hosted within. It's part of the build. I think it builds a
Oh,
database.
hosted within? Okay.
I would, yeah. All I know is how to push a button, Myers. I don't know how to.
Does Wisp not have a log on it?
That's a good question. They probably do. Let's see.
Okay,
Wisp
I'm just warning you
log?
now. We have 5 databases for MC Survival and Wisp, so don't delete that.
No, we gotta delete all of them, and then we can undo everything. That's how.
Oh, whoever set this up was fucking stupid because the database shouldn't be connected to the
Oh, yeah,
container
Oh,
like
yeah,
this.
obviously. Okay, I think we found it. Yeah. Here's this, Myers.
You actually found the container ID?
No, we found the logs though.
Debug clearing server object. Here's the server. This is the server ID.
Yep, that would be it. And then we need to find.
Do you have any
the-
do you have any containers that match that?
Well, no, because I deleted, right? So.
Well, you don't know that for
can-
sure. It looks like it deleted the container. I may not have checked the volume.
Yeah, let me check. Docker inspect. Docker volume inspect. Nope, no such volume for that. But that is the volume the same as the server ID?
No, it's not. But I don't know how you check. Oh wait, can you check the history of the container? Now, can you check the logs of it since now you have the volume ID?
No, because I don't have the volume ID though. That's the server ID, right? And since we deleted the server, we can't check anything in it because it's no longer there, right? Let me see. Let me make sure that's the right one. Even. Yeah. Okay, that's probably the right one. The minutes me trip.
So if you run Docker volume ls, can you do and then true? Can you view them by timestamp to see when they were last mounted?
It doesn't give me timestamp. No, it might have some order, but I have no idea what the order is.
There might be a flag you can attach to it.
Yeah, if you know the flag, let me know.
Docker volume
This volume's by what?
volume.
Size? Am I-
Recent. Can you see when they were last mounted? When their last mount point was? Can you check their mount point? If you check their mount point, you could see if they're mounted towards like if it's SQL, it should be like SQL
Oh,
data.
there's a Docker events command that like has everything.
Bro, who is the Docker expert? Do we not have like a Docker expert anymore? Like before, Covert was like a fucking god with Docker.
I mean, Covert's still here. He's just very in the background.
I don't understand. They made this announcement like they didn't fucking tell anyone. Do they consult? Like, do they talk to you about this, or do they just fucking go off with it?
Well, I don't think I'd be a good one to consult, but no, they just went off with it.
Oh, so I wasn't paying attention. Did you guys fix the database yet?
No, we're trying to
they're-
find the dangling volume. How many dangling volumes are there?
Like,
Are they like a shit ton? If there's that many, then I'm assuming it doesn't delete them. Don might know how big the volume is.
Just upload it as a file. Discord. There's a list.
Oh, dude, who isn't labeling their volumes, bro? This would be so much easier if they labeled their volumes.
Wisp is the one that's not labeling the volumes. When you make a volume, it just.
Is this too many for you to go through and inspect them all one at a time?
Hey guys, run this. And then
You already did.
you get to go through that, and then you get to go through each of the data folders for each of those
Where are you
volumes.
typing, G? Oh.
Public.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah. I mean, I think I can show this.
You're fine. Just show it. Just
I am
keep on linking.
streaming though.
Don't care. Just leak it.
What are you looking
It's
at?
not much to leak. Okay.
Bro, we're all in tech. Do you want to move us into like tech private or something?
No,
So
I'm
random.
streaming.
Twitch.
You're streaming to
Oh.
Twitch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm mad.
Bro.
Why are you streaming to Twitch, bro?